Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding officer of Navy Operational Support Center, Chattanooga, Lieutenant Commander Timothy White.
Calmness, rustling leaves, screeching tires, gunfire. Those were the sounds of July 16th, 2015, sounds that transformed a beautiful summer morning into a day filled with tragedy and tears. Sounds that few heard but will never be forgotten. Certainly not by those of us who lived through them, and sounds that affected so many lives inside and outside of Chattanooga and throughout our great nation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here to honor our fallen heroes. I stand before you today as a voice of hope, a hope to return to that calm. That Thursday morning of July 16th is a date all of us here today will never forget. On that day, 4 brave Marines lost their lives, and 1 amazing sailor was mortally wounded. They died as they lived doing their duty with honor, courage, and commitment, defending their fellow sailors and Marines, even at the expense of their own lives. These men volunteered to serve. They were sons, brothers, fathers. We are eternally grateful for their sacrifice and the sacrifice of their families. But the story does not, it cannot, it will not end here. The Navy and Marine Corps team will not falter in our mission, defending the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We, the living, must rededicate ourselves here to the cause for which these brave men gave their lives. It is hard to keep from feeling like we should stop and pause. Stop the mission to mourn for our brothers. But they were warriors. They would not want us to stop for their sakes. They would want us to do our duty with more tenacity, heightened vigor, unwavering commitment, and undaunted courage. They would want us to do our duty, and we will do it. And in doing so, we will honor our fallen. We will continue to pursue our mission with excellence and perseverance. Here in Chattanooga, the price for freedom on July 16th was high. Freedom doesn't come easy. It never has. But freedom is worth fighting for, and if necessary, dying for. These heroes knew this. They valued freedom, not just their own freedom, but my freedom and your freedom. Our enemies seek to divide and distract us. As long as we remain united, firm in our devotion to our duties and our country's principles, we will never be defeated. I am here to tell you today that the July 16th attack only made us more firm in those devotions. It only bound us more tightly in pursuit of our mission. Those men, those warriors whom we lost here would not want us to mourn forever. They would want us to pick up our pack, to carry on, and fight the good fight, so that this nation will never again feel this terror. That is how we return to the calm, always remembering, always serving, always being faithful in our fight to freedom. It is a privilege to be with you here today to honor those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and price for freedom. I thank God for them. I thank God for you. I thank God for this great nation. May He guide you, and may He bless the United States of America. I salute you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus.
As a military organization, we have experienced far too often the searing pain of combat losses and honored the many who, in Lincoln's words, laid their lives as sacrifices on the altar of freedom. Today, we honor 5 patriots who have made the same sacrifice in the service of their nation, this time here at home. We very rightly set aside special days and have solemn rituals to recognize, remember, revere the men and women in uniform who have paid the final price in the defense of America. These Marines, this sailor, deserve the same thing. We are a family, the Navy and Marine Corps family. We work together, we serve together, we overcome together. As a family, we grieve together. Together, we will assure that they, like those who went before, will be remembered as heroes, because that is what they are, heroes. Ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. And Ordinary Thursday became a day of extraordinary horror, but also extraordinary heroism, as shipmates, law enforcement officers, first responders ran into danger to protect others and aid them, and as colleagues, friends, and strangers helped each other away from danger, even at the risk of their own lives. 2 of those wounded in this valiant effort, Police Officer Dennis Pettigo and Marine Sergeant DeMonte Chile, is with us. He is with us today. So we memorialize as heroes those we lost and profoundly thank the heroes who are here today. And the courage witnessed that Thursday did not end with the closing of that awful day. Recruiters nationwide went to work on Friday, encouraging and assisting the nation's finest young men and women in joining the Navy and Marine Corps. And on Saturday and Sunday, tens of thousands of reservists reported for their drill weekend. This pure act of evil could not keep them from their duty. That commitment is the essence of sailors and Marines. It was demonstrated under the worst of circumstances on July 16th, and it has not wavered since. Still, we know it will take time for those with visible and invisible wounds to heal. The shock, the anger over what occurred last month will take us all time to deal with, because what happens defies comprehension, defies understanding. We know that while the pain will recede, it will never completely leave. We know that although it will shrink, the hole in our hearts will never completely close. And we know that although we will heal, our Navy and Marine Corps family will never again feel completely whole. 5 taken. 5 husbands, fathers, brothers, sons, workmates, taken from us suddenly, violently, cruelly. But what cannot be taken is our love and our memories. As we remember these individuals that we cherished, it will not be as victims. Their lives cannot be determined by the terrible, inexplicable way they ended, but rather by how they lived. Tom Sullivan served in the Marine Corps for almost 2 decades, including 2 combat tours in Iraq, receiving 2 Purple Hearts. Gunny was known as a Marine among Marines, immersed in the Corps, living his life by the ethos of that Corps. David White, enlisted after 9/11, served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Japan, Korea. His love for the Marine Corps exceeded only by his love for his wife Lori and their children Rebecca and Heath. Carson Holmquist, whose decision to serve his country was second nature to him. 2 combat tours in Afghanistan, and was strengthened and supported by the love of his family, his wife Jasmine, their son Wyatt, and on the anticipation of their child to come. Randall Smith, grandson of a Navy veteran, had just re-enlisted in the Navy after 3 years with Marines aboard the amphibious ship USS Wasp. He lived a life of service and loved his wife Angie and their 3 girls, Lila, Ayla, Kayla. Skip Wells, in the Marine Corps for only a year, but even in that time stood out as someone who cared more about his fellow Marines and the mission than he did about himself. These are each unique individuals. But as I've spoken to their families and friends, common threads emerge: a love of family and country, the value and pride placed in serving America, and the values that others placed on their lives. Today, we remember them and we mourn. Tomorrow, they join so many other Navy and Marine Corps heroes whose lives and deeds shine forever bright. And in the days and months and years that follow, together, we will remain as they did: Semper Fortis, always courageous; Semper Fidelis, always faithful.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense, Ashton Carter.
To the families of Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan, Staff Sergeant Wyatt, Sergeant Holmquist, Petty Officer Smith, and Lance Corporal Wells, to you, it's with heavy hearts that Stephanie and I join you this afternoon. We have no words for what you feel today, because try as we may, and try as we do, we can never fully know. But we do know what the lives of your loved ones meant to the security of our country, and we will never forget. Vice President Biden, you honor the force with your presence today, as you do so often. Secretary Mabus, Admiral Greenert, General Dunford, Governor Haslam, Mayor Burke, distinguished members of Congress, guests, and ladies and gentlemen, as we gather today, we cannot erase the pain of our loss, but still we come together as fellow citizens to honor these 5 fallen patriots, to mourn with those who loved them, to provide comfort and healing as best we can, to remember the lives these brave men led, to reflect on the meaning their lives have for us, the duty their deaths impose upon us. Their lives were truly exemplary. Many of them served abroad and fought on the front lines of faraway battlefields in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. And here at home, they were serving among the many men and women in uniform who represent our military communities in communities across the country, on the front lines of the force of the future. The meaning of their lives is therefore clear, crystal clear, and we will be forever proud of them. The meaning of their killing is yet unclear. What combination of disturbed mind, violent extremism, and hateful ideology was at work, we don't know. Perhaps it will never be fully known, let alone fathomable by all who have the decency and conscience to value their fellow human beings. But we do know this. We know that we will do what it takes to protect the servicemen and women who protect us. This is something we, all of us, me, President Obama, Vice President Biden, Secretary Mabus, General Dunford, Admiral Greenert, all the men and women of the Department of Defense, this is something we take personally. That is why I've directed the military services to fundamentally review their domestic security procedures, as well as to take immediate steps to improve the security and force protection of our personnel. And we will do more if necessary. We also know that we are the many, the just, the noble, and that the few who threaten or incite harm to Americans, violent extremists or terrorists, wherever they are, will surely, very surely, no matter how long it takes, come to feel the long arm and the hard fist of justice. And we know that those who attempt to inspire fear or terror will find no satisfaction, will have no success in the United States of America. Instead, we come back. We come back from tragedy, stronger and more united. Because across America, our reserve facilities and recruiting centers are still open. Young men and women are still signing up to serve, to defend their country. They will carry forward the legacy of the fallen, and like them, they too will serve in the finest fighting force the world has ever known. Even here in this great city, Chattanooga, Tennessee, recruits are still lining up to volunteer. In some cases, more than they were before. In fact, one future sailor named Alexis enlisted just last week. She'd been talking to recruiters in Chattanooga before the shooting, but this senseless violence only made her want to serve her country more. It only strengthened her resolve to stand up against fear and hatred. As she said the other day, we're not going to let one incident destroy us. We're all standing strong as a community and as a whole. That's the spirit of Chattanooga, the spirit of Tennessee, and the spirit of America and its military. And that's how we heal, by standing strong together. So to the Sullivan family, to the Wyatt family, to the Holmquist family, the Smith family, and the Wells family, you're part of our family, our military family, and you always will be. Your strength and sacrifice will continue to guide us, inspire us, and remain with us forever and ever. May God hold close and grant peace to the souls of those who no longer live with us, but will live on within us. May God watch over the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who continue to defend us all, and may God continue to bless this great nation, the United States of America.